My name is Jose Todd Covington. I grew up right here in the Normandy municipality. Originally, I actually grew up in Mansion Hill. That's probably my earliest memories. I think right now that's been taken over by UMSL. And then later I moved to Bell Ridge, and that's where I went through Bell Nor and Bell Ridge, and later on Normandy Middle School, then high school. Yeah, so I've been at Normandy since I was a little kid. I actually was a Viking tyke. I don't know if they still use that term for preschoolers, but yeah, I went all the way through Normandy from pre-K all the way up to my senior year. My time throughout Normandy has been pretty eventful, to say the least. I've always had a passion for my school and my environment, my community. I think it's very important that I understand what benefits my community has given me, and Normandy was that for me. There was a lot of there was a lot of hidden gems within Normandy. People who looked at me, who saw the spark that I had and fostered that as much as they could, which led me down this path. At a very early age, I knew that my math and sciences needed to be strong, and I think teachers saw that and they really pushed me in that direction. They put me in the gifted program. They saw, in some classes, they saw that I wasn't being challenged enough, and in certain scenarios, they would give me more work. But there was definitely a lot of key figures within the Normandy School District that has helped me find, for example, Beyond Housing and other summer programs that allowed me to pursue my dreams. So I can't emphasize enough how much I love the Viking Advantage program. So much so that I've always kept contact with them long after, they've exhausted all benefits for me. I think that it's a program that was instrumental towards my success into college and then later on into medical school. Coming from a low-income family where my mother raised us as a single mother after middle school and on, it was instrumental in allowing the time and resources I needed to understand how to get into college, how to apply to college, how to fund college, and and constantly foster that dream of mine towards medicine. My path was just a little unusual because when I was a junior in high school, I did sign a contract to join the military, and I wanted to secure a path towards college, and I think that was one of the only ways. I had a dying fear, of debt, and student loan debt, and I wanted to make sure I found a way to get to college without having to, go into debt. I think Viking Advantage, for example, was one of the earliest programs that taught me how to budget money, how to plan ahead, and that got the gears, going, and making sure that I was planning my money out accordingly. And at that time, the military was the right option for me, and it gave me a lot of lessons within discipline and leadership and things like that. That got my life together in that aspect. And then, so transitioning over to college, I had a couple of college savings plans open, or at least one that I was working on, and I was extremely grateful for that. It was one of the very first lessons that I learned about investing in myself. The match program was a no-brainer. You put $1 in, you get more back. And of course, with the limitations on making sure that it's spent on school, I was able to get my books paid for. I was able to get my very first laptop that lasted me at least 9 years. It still worked, and I was able to even pay off at least one semester of my tuition with one of my accounts. Without that, I wouldn't have been able to achieve my degree, my Bachelor's of Science in Biochem Biotech, which later on got me, of course, adjusted for the MCAT and accepted into medical school later on. So I went to UMSL, University of Missouri, St. Louis, went right down the street. I think it was a great option for me as well. In-state school, low prices, tons of scholarships for individuals like me, myself. They work well with the Viking Advantage program. But that seemed like the option for me. It worked well. But I had a great time with college. I think it was a good adjustment. Going to Normandy, the demographics look a little different from when you go to college, and that's always an adjustment for a lot of folks. But college was just as fun, if not more fun. My time at Mizzou was definitely one of the most challenging things in my life. I went through Normandy, struggling to make sure I got my grades up enough for college. I went through UMSL, getting my bachelor's, and I struggled a little bit, but I got a hang of it near the end. And then I also went to the military, but Mizzou, or going to any school of medicine, is easily was the most challenging thing that I have ever done, and it was mentally challenging. You had to change. You had to change the way you move, the way you think, and it was obviously one of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had in my life as well. I think that a lot of things that I had a great experience in reshaping the way I thought and the way I behaved when it came to academics. I used to not think that school was challenging enough, yet when I went to med school, for sure I was retaught that lesson, that I was, there's a lot more to learn. But yeah, so I felt every single year of medicine, and it was very rewarding. But I had a great time at University of Missouri, Columbia. There was a lot of support there. The school itself was in the right direction. It was pointing in the right direction when it came to diversity and inclusion. And so they supported me as much as I could, or they could, and I left some legacy there as well. I helped, build a community of underrepresented minorities within medicine out there in Mizzou. I think I left a little legacy there, and that makes me proud to be able to leave that type of mark at Mizzou, and they were able to give me my degree. It was a good trade. And I matched into anesthesiology residency at University of Wisconsin-Madison. So I'll be headed to Madison, Wisconsin.